Major funding for the Eyes of Nye was provided by the National Science Foundation, America's investment in the future, and by the estate of Sperry H. Goodman.
Firebird 2 to Control Tower. We are about to take off on the highway of tomorrow. Stand by.
The future looked pretty good at the 1962 World's Fair. At home, everything could be done with a touch of a button. And when we left the home, the transportation of the future was going to be equally amazing. Look at all this stuff. Well, the Space Needle's still here, but we've gotten hardly any of that cool transportation stuff we saw at that World's Fair some 40-odd years ago. Yeah, we've got hardly any hovercraft, hardly any high-speed trains running through tunnels on the ocean floor, and no jetpacks. So where does that leave us? Well, I guess it's settled. We're gonna have cars instead of jetpacks. I admit I'm a little disappointed. But if we're gonna have cars, couldn't we do a better job of it? Well, yeah, that's the way I see it. Now, here we go.
The Eyes of Nye.
This used to be the biggest source of pollution. Factories, big industry, plants like this. But now, it's us in our cars. Transportation has become the biggest source of air pollution. Why have cars become a national obsession? You love your car.
Love it.
You'd rather take a car than a bus.
Yeah. What are you gonna do on a bus?
I never take bus.
Why not?
Because I got my car.
This right here is a 1994 Cadillac Special Edition. I have a TV here. I have a TV back here.
You don't gotta wait. You don't gotta plan your route. Just go.
You know, it lets you go wherever you want in style. You can get from A to B in anything, but you know, it's all about how the car makes you feel.
I got the PlayStation right here for the kids when they want to play the game.
I love to floss my ride.
Show it off?
Yeah, of course. And I get to pick up girls, you know? What's the car without girls?
It's more fun in the car. Freedom. I can stop and go when I want.
That's freedom in America.
You see, Mary and Tommy, the automobile is changing mankind for the better.
But, Mr. Sanders, won't cars bring about sprawl, a dependency on foreign oil, and harm to the environment?
I think cars are neat, Mr. Sanders.
Yes, Tommy, especially red 56 T-Bird convertibles. But Mrs. Sanders won't let me buy one. Do you know why?
She doesn't like red?
That's a very poor guess, Tommy.
Mr. Sanders, I thought you weren't married.
Mrs. Sanders is my mother. She knows if I drove a T-Bird, I'd no longer be a meek son she could bend to her will. I'd be a man of action and prestige and the fantasy of every woman in town.
It takes a lot of energy to get a car to the top of a hill. Going downhill, we step on the brakes or run against the engine. Either way, that energy is lost to heat. It ends up in the air. In regular gas-powered cars, there's no way to get that energy back. This fundamental idea of speeding up or going down or slowing down, is why it's a good idea to use a vehicle that doesn't weigh too much. Now here's a single woman who's gotten basic transportation that's stylish. See? No problem. You want some help there?
No, I got it.
Ah, the typical American minivan with the typical American family. Works for me. Looks like it works for them, too. Now, this is an art director from a big advertising firm. His apartment's just a few blocks from work, but he chooses to drive this big vehicle, which is designed for military assaults over rough terrain. A couple of tons do make a difference. But I guess chicks dig these. Or do they?
I got it, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Pound for pound, kilogram for kilogram, drop for drop, gasoline is very high-performance fuel. It has a lot of energy. That's why we've stuck with it, lo these many years. The trouble is, burning gasoline produces emissions. Now, we can't keep pumping gasoline out of the ground forever. It's not renewable. We're going to run out. So car makers have tried a few things. This is an electric car. It makes zero emissions. Nothing. Nada. Electric motors, it turns out, have a lot of torque. Let's punch it. Let's go. See, this car can out-accelerate sports cars and motorcycles. The reason electric vehicles didn't really catch on, though, is that they don't go very far. I can go about 150 kilometers, about 120 miles on a charge. And that's not very far when it takes 4 hours to recharge. Now, the reason they don't go very far is that the batteries are big and heavy. They're bulky. So that makes the vehicle heavier and takes a lot of energy to get it going. But manufacturers have come up with other ideas. At the beginning of the 21st century, cars are being made with very compact power plants that feature a regular gasoline-powered engine and an electric motor with battery packs. The electric motor helps the car accelerate away from a stop and helps recover energy when the car is going downhill. We call them hybrids. They're a hybrid of gas and electric. They go about twice as far in a liter of gas, but they're still burning emission-pumping, non-renewable gasoline.
Well, hi there, and today we're gonna finish our beautiful, scenic mountain landscape and flowing stream scene. And you remember how beautiful it was? Yeah, it was, but it wasn't really quite complete, was it? No, it wasn't. So we're gonna put something else in here. Right now, a big, noisy off-road vehicle full of a bunch of drunk morons from the city. Yeah, but they're not happy just ruining their own world. Oh, no. The world they have with the anxiety and the pollution they cause and all of that. No, these punks, they want to spend their weekends trying to ruin the rest of the planet, too. And I'll tell you what, next, let's put a little Bambi over here. Yeah, just running for his life. Look at his white tail up there flapping in the wind. Bambi doesn't understand, of course, how much fun it is to trash the environment. Yeah, and just over here, let's put a few backwoodsmen with rifles and, oh heck, a lot of free time on their hands here. Yeah, they're gonna teach the city slickers a lesson about getting 12 miles to the gallon while we're relying on foreign oil. Yeah, they'll teach them a lesson.
I'm dancing and singing in the exhaust, because you can't. It's a fuel cell. So, Tony.
Yeah.
No internal combustion
No
engine.
internal combustion engine.
And fuel cells up here someplace.
Fuel cells right above our heads now.
And the hydrogen's up there?
Hydrogen's in the front of the bus, up under that hood there.
Oh, man, so nothing comes out the back but water vapor?
Water vapor, a little bit of steam, clean
cool.
and healthy.
May I drive?
Yeah, sure. Hop on.
This bus is powered by fuel cells. Instead of storing electricity in batteries, the bus carries its energy in hydrogen. The fuel cells on board convert hydrogen into electricity continuously through a chemical process. The heart of the fuel cell is the proton exchange membrane. Hydrogen is fed on one side and oxygen on the other. The hydrogen separates into protons and electrons. The protons pass through a membrane, while the electrons go through an external circuit as electricity. The protons and electrons then combine with the oxygen, creating water and heat. Fuel cells will operate continuously as long as they have hydrogen and oxygen. By combining single cells together, a fuel cell stack can be made that produces just the right amount of electricity.
It's like riding a bike. No, wait, it's like driving a bus.
That's right. It shouldn't feel any different. Just a lot quieter.
It is
pretty
a lot
smooth.
quieter. People's perception might be that fuel cells, first it's kind of a spooky expression, fuel cells, that this is, decades away. But here's this bus running, right?
That's right. We've got 60 vehicles on the street around the world. There's people hopping on and off fuel cell buses every day. This is certainly something that I'm going to see in my lifetime. Cars all over running on fuel cells.
So how long do you think it is, 10 years?
Yeah, we estimate end of this decade, we will see a significant number of fuel cell cars on the road and starting the commercialization of it to the public.
Let's say the whole world, no, let's say North America, changes from conventional diesel-powered buses or gasoline-powered buses to fuel cell buses. I mean, how much energy will we save?
Let's say they're twice as efficient. You'd be saving half the energy that you would normally have used.
Nothing but water vapor. It's distilled water.
It is.
A toast to the future.
How does it taste?
Like water. It's not bad.
It's terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world of humanity.
She's right. Knowing your chemistry does help you make good decisions about your impact on the environment. Well, class, what is the best fuel for cars? Gasoline-powered cars use octane. Natural gas vehicles use methane. Some fuel cell vehicles use methane, and some use hydrogen. You see, it's all in the molecules. If we keep burning gasoline in our cars, we may be gambling with the environment. See, this is octane. It has 8 carbons and a bunch of hydrogens. When we burn it, we get carbon dioxide and water vapor, but we also get a bunch of heat, lots of heat. But we also get a bunch of other stuff that we don't want, like carbon monoxide, which is poisonous, nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, some unburned gasoline, and a bunch of soot. Now this is methane. It's got just 1 carbon and a few hydrogens. When we burn it, we get carbon dioxide and water vapor, but it's much cleaner. We don't get any of this other stuff. So if we could find a way to separate the hydrogen from the carbon, we could use that hydrogen for something else. And we can do that with a reformer in a reformation process. Now, by combining the hydrogen with oxygen in the air in a fuel cell, we can make electricity to run an electric car. See, with hydrogen, our odds are a lot better. This little car is a fuel cell vehicle. This plastic box is the fuel cell. When I throw the switch, it will allow the hydrogen gas to combine with the oxygen to form H2O, water vapor. Now, along with producing water, fuel cells produce electricity. So a fuel cell vehicle is really an electric car with a great battery. When I throw this switch, it'll produce electricity, and off we go. So here's our goal. If we could find a renewable source of hydrogen, we could make getting around a lot cleaner.
We're just at the beginning of this technology. There's a hydrogen tank that's running this small cart. See, we can build them just about any scale. The key is finding a source of hydrogen.
The great thing about hydrogen is that it's all around us. It's in plastics, it's in trees, it's in hydrocarbon fuels, certainly a lot of it's in water, but it's always tied up chemically in a chemical compound with something else. We can't get hydrogen, we can't drill a well and pump hydrogen out of the ground. So what you have to do is look for sources that are abundant and extract the hydrogen out of the form that they're in into a purified form that you can use for a device like this.
But you're getting carbon dioxide the same way you get carbon dioxide if you were just to burn it.
Exactly. But because of the efficiency of converting the fuel that you end up with, hydrogen, into either electrical energy or mobile power for a vehicle, a fuel cell can be 2 to 3 times as efficient as an internal combustion engine. We could be domestically secure. We could make all our energy needs in the United States from sources in the United States. We wouldn't be dependent on importing oil from foreign countries.
What's the dream?
The long-term dream is to make all the hydrogen that we need out of renewable resources. Sun, wind, biomass, hydropower, where everyone on the planet can have the power they need. We don't have emissions, we don't have greenhouse gases to worry about. So this is it. This is the dream, the sustainable energy system, power to change the world.
So maybe there is hope. Maybe we will be able to drive more efficient cars and decrease pollution. But even with more efficient cars, there'll be plenty of other problems we have to solve. So I'm up here with Bruce Hafner. We're in the Channel 3 copter here in Phoenix, Arizona. And Bruce, this is your day at the office, right?
Yeah, this is what I do every day. Come up here and fly around Phoenix. When I started flying 8 years ago out of this airport, there was nothing north of this road now. Check it out now. There used to be nothing up there. This used to be the middle of nowhere.
So here we're looking at the desert. There's cacti on the ridgetop and so on, but as we come over the ridge, house after house. So here in Phoenix, we have a textbook example of urban sprawl. In 1880, Phoenix had about 1,000 people living in half a square mile. By 1920, it had about 400 times that many. And now, today, it's about 1,000 times that big, and it's still getting bigger. And everybody is getting everywhere in Phoenix on roads. We're all driving in cars, and 92% of us are using one car for each person. It's really not that efficient.
This is the American dream of freedom on wheels. An automotive age, traveling on time-saving superhighways. Though we have the greatest highway system in all the world, it can't carry the mounting traffic of our growing greatness. We're running out of roads. We didn't dream big enough.
We actually have a crash, many different vehicles involved.
And near as I can tell, Phoenix is growing and growing. Are there any plans to contain that growth by managing the traffic flow?
Well, there's a few things that we're doing as far as adding new highways. We've added in the last 15 years 100 miles of new highways that we didn't have before. Obviously, we're widening some of our existing highways as well. And then from a transit standpoint, we're working to expand the bus service in the Phoenix area, as well as the development of light rail connecting various points throughout the city.
Now, when you say making highways wider, I mean, the highways around here are pretty wide. How big is it going to get?
Well, 12's probably about as wide as you're going to see it go. If you have a highway that's much wider than that, you tend to see a reduction in the performance of the highway as far as the benefit. Every time you add a lane, you get a certain level of benefit. Beyond a 12-lane highway, you start to see that reduction.
Now, why is that? Because people have to change lanes to exit?
Exactly. You have so much weaving of traffic, people trying to get from one lane on the highway to a particular off-ramp, or when they enter the highway, trying to merge all the way to the left. So beyond a highway that's that wide, you have to look at some other considerations.
12 lanes, yeah.
Right.
All these cars, all this traffic, it's frustrating. How are we ever going to solve this problem?
Los Alamos National Laboratory, birthplace of the atom bomb and the world's fastest supercomputer, where the expertise in simulating military logistics and tank battles has turned to modeling traffic.
So this is complicated.
This is more complicated than rocket science. Cities are complicated. Nations are complicated. Social systems are complicated. They have economic aspects. They have lots of individual elements and interaction. We don't really have a physics. We have to calculate the interactions when people are going to use a road or when they decide to walk. Somehow we have to make those calculations reliable. We have to understand what these things mean in some sort of scientifically credible way.
The question that all of us drivers have is, why are there traffic jams? Why is everything so messed up?
Traffic acts like something that's called a granular fluid.
Like sand through a pipe of air.
Like sand through a pipe of air, with a small exception, a large exception.
A significant exception.
A significant exception, that people have motives to be there.
Sand grains probably aren't thinking too much.
No, they don't have a lot of plans.
Yeah, as far as we know.
Right. Yeah. But people do, and they're following their plans, and they're trying to avoid other people for the most part. So that means that they do things like slow down. And as they slow down, then the guy behind him slows down, the guy behind him slows down, and it propagates backward.
To capture the countless decisions that individual travelers make in shaping a metropolitan area's traffic patterns, Barrett's team is creating a vast mirror world in cyberspace of every motorist and transit rider, every traffic light, turn lane, and bus stop.
So what you've got here is mathematical people. These are not real people.
No, they're people that the population of them have the same properties as the population of the people in Portland or wherever we're simulating. This individual starts at home and carpools to work and has lunch and goes back to work and then carpools home again.
That's pretty linear. So are you going to be able to, for example, eliminate traffic jams?
No. We're not going to eliminate traffic jams.
Now, why do you say that? Because there's people who make those sort of extraordinary claims. If we just program the lights properly and so on.
We can make them a lot better, but without redesigning other aspects of the city than just how the roadways function, from the availability of transit to where people live and work, land use type decisions, and other aspects of the infrastructure. You're going to have traffic jams if you have people that all live somewhere and have to be somewhere else, and they're in large numbers and they're all trying to get there at the same time. I think that this deployed into the hands of decision makers over time and people with competing interests, this can change the way they approach the problem of arranging the way they live.
What do you say to people that go, look, we can't change. There's no way we can change. I like my car. I love my car. I'm not going to change. What do you say to those people?
Say 100 years ago, people didn't know what cars were. We changed. But if we don't change the way our cities function, then it won't look much different at all. It'll just be gridlocked.
Sprawling, 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 gridlock, gridlock, gridlock. Oh, that sounds great. You might be saying this problem of traffic is not going to be solved anytime soon. I mean, what's the point? This is going to be the way of the world from now on. We're building freeways that are so massive, sometimes you can't get across them. You can't get anywhere. We're using huge amounts of energy to go very short distances. I mean, it's just wasteful.
Meanwhile, we have this tremendous obesity problem. We're overweight. We make time to drive our cars to buildings where we walk and pedal to nowhere. It's a little odd.
The longest journey starts with but a single step. So walk once in a while. Take the bus sometimes.
Influence these people to require us to drive more efficient cars.
Vote. Demand better land use laws and better city planning. You see, we could, dare I say it, change the world. We could make it a little less wasteful and a little more efficient. Otherwise, we're all stuck. That's the way I see it. I'll see you next time on The Eyes of Nye.
We've covered a lot of ground, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. Check out eyesofnye.org for more cool science.
The Eyes of Nye.
Major funding for the Eyes of Nye was provided by the National Science Foundation, America's investment in the future, and by the estate of Sperry H. Goodman.